Bitcoin has just found a higher low in the mid $37,000 range after finding rejection along 42K. I would consider this to be very constructive price action. This is the first kind of bullish structure that we've actually seen form since we dumped to 30,000. Before this point, Bitcoin was stuck in a downward sloping structure, and now Bitcoin is finally forming its first upward sloping structure of the range. And to me, this daily chart is a clear sign of a bullish momentum shift. Any hope that the bears may have previously had is now being squashed. And also, one of my friends on Twitter by the name of TechDev shared this extremely interesting chart comparison showing the Wyckoff accumulation schematic. And if you overlay the Bitcoin structure with the Wyckoff accumulation schematic, it does seem to line up very well. And whether Wyckoff accumulation is truly taking place or not, I don't really care to prove that, but nonetheless, this comparison is extremely similar. And there are a ton of signs in the Bitcoin chart that show that we are playing out a bullish reversal, and I do think that we are going to see a full recovery from this point. And today I also want to discuss the Ethereum chart. This market structure that we're seeing right here does seem to be extremely similar to the market structure that we saw in 2017, right before the final phase actually took place. And I do think Ethereum is going to play out something similar, that we are on the verge of our last major final phase in this market. And if Ethereum does gain bullish momentum and sees another breakout into a new all-time high in the next coming weeks or months, then it also becomes likely that we could expect the Bitcoin dominance chart to see another potential major plunge as Ethereum leads the altcoins into the next major alt season. All of this and more in today's video. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today we're going to be discussing the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Before we get started, definitely smash up that like button and also hit that big red subscribe button. We are just a few subscribers away from hitting 60,000 subscribers here on YouTube. So it would be much appreciated for all of you that have not subscribed to subscribe. Now, looking at Bitcoin on the daily chart, the $30,000 level has now solidified itself as a concrete bottom. We now have very solid support in this range, and it's pretty clear that every time the price gets to those levels, the whales eat up the sell orders. And it's not just one support zone. This support zone also, of course, stems back to the beginning of this year in January, February. So we've held this level twice now as a major support zone, and I do think this is going to act as a long-term support. In traditional technical analysis, the more time that you spend at a particular price level, the stronger of a support or resistance it becomes. And because we've spent so much time at this level, 30,000 is likely to be an extremely strong support zone. Structurally, Bitcoin has been making some big moves. We've seen a shift above this downward sloping resistance line. And not only that, this downward sloping structure that we've been sitting in for a long time is now broken. We now have upward sloping structure, and this is really changing the game here for Bitcoin. And like I was saying in the beginning of the video, TechDev, this account on Twitter, brought up a very interesting point, and that is that Bitcoin is in fact following the Wyckoff accumulation schematic. And if this is true, then making the comparison here, Bitcoin is now in the final phase of Wyckoff accumulation. And if this was going to play out in this way, that means that we are now about to get a consolidation along this range. Bitcoin may very well look to consolidate below 42 and above 37 for a week or so before getting its final breakout phase. And right now, that does seem to be what's most likely. And this would put us right along with the Wyckoff accumulation schematic. So that's pretty exciting to me. And I do think that this is what's most likely right now. So if we do play out a week-long sideways consolidation above 37 and below 42, what would be the next major hurdle to be getting above? And that would be the 200-day moving average. The 200-day moving average is currently coming in right along or just below the $45,000 level. So if we do punch up to that range, we could see some resistance there and a little bit of chop along the 200-day. And once we get above that, that's when we'd be looking for the $50,000 level. If you take your fib extensions from highest high to lowest low of this range, we can see that we just touched the 382 fib extension. That is our current resistance zone. So after this next potential consolidation, we have the 200-day target coming in just below that $45,000 level. And if we get above the 200-day, that's likely going to give us a lot of momentum. And I think we would actually extend all the way up to the 618 fib extension target that is about 51,000 US dollars. So after clearing the 200-day moving average, my next target actually goes to 51,000 at the 618 fib extension. And if this does play out, then we're going to have to see how things go. We want to see Bitcoin putting in constructive price action and more higher lows with a continued recovery. If we get to 51,000 and Bitcoin starts to see bearish divergence, lower lows, and a continued pullback, that actually would give the bearish narrative more momentum, and that could mean that we're playing out some sort of longer-term descending triangle pattern, longer-term bearish pattern, right? We have to be ready for this as well. Even though you guys know I'm extremely bullish on this market, this next major push to the upside is going to determine a lot for Bitcoin. So we need to be seeing higher lows being put in on this trend and generally remaining above that 200-day moving average. I do think that ultimately Bitcoin is going to be playing out a full recovery and actually punching to new all-time highs before the end of this year. And there's a few reasons that lead me to think that Bitcoin is going to be playing out a major recovery. I think it's more likely that we're going to be forming a major uptrend from this low point. And the reason that I think that is for a few fundamental reasons. This is the liquid supply change for Bitcoin. This is the daily chart. And I'm just going to throw the image on the screen here. And what we can see is that Bitcoin is now entering supply shock. There is a lack of Bitcoin supply on the market, and we just got the green bar, the buy signal. And after getting that signal back in late 2020, it led us from about 13K all the way to 65,000. So in my opinion, it's possible that this green buy signal that we just got now will likely lead to a multi-month uptrend, a full recovery for Bitcoin, and potentially a 6-month bullish trend. Now, Ethereum is another chart that makes me even more bullish on this market. First of all, recently, Ethereum had this descending triangle pattern playing out, which is classically bearish, though Bitcoin did recover and Ethereum broke out to the upside of this descending triangle, which invalidated it as a bearish pattern, and it is now a major market low. Now, the interesting thing about this chart from the weekly perspective, if you're looking at it from 2017 until where we are now, this type of major consolidation after an all-time high break is very, very similar to this major consolidation after its all-time high break in 2017. And even though the structure is slightly different, it seems like Ethereum is generally playing out something similar. If Bitcoin was going to play out a longer-term consolidation like this, or maybe Bitcoin even ranged a little bit more sideways before getting its recovery, I think that Ethereum would play out something very similar to what it did in 2017, where in this range, where we would play out more upside followed by maybe a multi-week pullback, a sideways consolidation before the next major up phase, the final phase of this bull market, which could be leading into the end of the year. And I do think the market is going to have to take some time to gear up below the all-time high before actually breaking it. The more time we spend consolidating below this all-time high and getting a higher low bullish structure, the more momentum we're going to have when we actually break out. And this is what I think is most likely right now for Ethereum, playing out something similar to that 2017 pattern right before we got that all-time high break into the final mania phase. And if something like this did play out for Ethereum, this would lead the altcoins into the next major alt season, and that would also lead Bitcoin dominance into its next major multi-month downward phase, possibly putting it into new all-time lows for dominance. Looking at the daily chart for Bitcoin dominance, we can see that we're actually already starting to lose this upward sloping trend line. We're already breaking the structure to the downside, which is bullish for altcoins. This is really just our first little signal that maybe the altcoins may start to get a little bit of dominance. And if Bitcoin does see continued recovery to the upside, Bitcoin dominance may test back up to this upward sloping trend line as new resistance before getting its final plunge. And I do think this is what's likely now for altcoins. You know, once Bitcoin starts to recover and people become more confident in Bitcoin, then money starts to flow into the altcoins. So first you see Bitcoin get its recovery, you see Ethereum get its recovery, and as they start to recover, as they start to look more bullish, that's when confidence reemerges in the altcoins, and that's when alt season really starts. Though it's not really going to be an alt season, in my opinion. It's going to be an everything season. Just like in most of these bull markets, we get everything season where everything generally starts moving up. You know, in bull markets, everything goes up together. So I'm looking for the next everything season, not really the next alt season, right? So I'm expecting pretty much most crypto assets to start exploding alongside Bitcoin's recovery. And another major bullish fundamental signal is the entity's net growth. We are now seeing all-time highs for network growth. The amount of users on the Bitcoin network is hitting all-time highs. And this is a leading indicator, guys. If the price is going down while the entity's net growth is going up, then you can actually use that to signal that the trend may change soon. And you can see that this entity's net growth rapidly increased at that 29K low point. So this fundamental signal actually led Bitcoin's price. It came before we saw the bounce, and now it's sort of correlating with the price. So fundamentally, Bitcoin has never been better, guys. So definitely keep your eye out on this 200-day moving average. That's going to be the next major hurdle for Bitcoin. And also for Ethereum, I'm looking for a major consolidation below the previous all-time high before the next major leg up, before the next major mania phase. And that could be leading us into the next major everything season for the crypto market. Let me know in the comments below if you're ready for everything season. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely smash up that like button. Subscribe to this channel if you're new. Get us up to that 60,000 subscriber level, and I will see you guys in the next video.